So good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you to this YouTube channel. Yes, I want to welcome you. You may be watching it in the morning or afternoon or evening, whichever time you're watching this video. Thank you very much and happy weekend to everybody. How is your weekend going? So yes, today we are going to be engaging another video about the suspended senator, Kogi Central Senatorial District. And yesterday, she was in court with her legal team to fight for justice in respect to her suspension. And we see everything that happened at the end of the day. The case was actually presided by Justice Binta Nyako, and at the end of the day, some judgment was being passed. So as you're watching this video, do well to actually drop your comment about what everything that happened in this video and about what the judgment is all about. Although some people are curious because of the judgment, at some point we saw that she was being fined 5 million naira because of what? Because there was a judgment that has been passed that the Senate should not suspend her, but there's another judgment that was being passed that none of those parties should publish anything in the media. But we saw an apology, a satirical apology that was being published by Senator Natasha. So that is one of the things that is being raised before the judge, and she was being fined for that 5 million naira. And she was also being told to write an apology in that regard. The apology is not to apologize to the Senate president, and it is to apologize to the court, because the court already said that none of those parties, either she or the Senate president, should post anything in respect to that, since it's a matter of prejudice, you understand? So that is just how it is. So finally, Justice Binta Nyako actually passed that the Senate should consider recalling her back to the Senate so that she can serve her people. And one of the things you need to also know is that for the past 2 months now, today actually make it 120 days since that suspension has kicked off, and nobody is representing Kogi Central Senatorial District in the 10th Senate. But yesterday, 4th of July, we saw what happened in High Court Abuja when Justice Binta Nyako declared that the Senate should consider recalling her. And the judge also made people understand that the suspension is too excessive. You understand? It's too excessive. So many people have been saying Senator Natasha should actually, appeal that case, or you should just go with the judgment, because after that, apart from paying the 5 million naira fine, she also tendered an apology to in our own page and even to some platforms like that in respect to what the court says. But guys, this is not the beginning. This is not the end. We still have several things ongoing. Even apart from the call or going back to the Senate, we still have a lot of things happening on the net. And I promise you guys to be updating you with all of these things. But let me just say congratulations to Kogi Central, because at last they will now have somebody that will represent them. But the fear of people now is that will the Senate actually recover Senator Natasha, or will they wait for the 6 months to elapse? You understand? But although the judgment has been passed that the Senate should recall her. So the question, the fear, the curiosity of several Kogites and several Nigerians and supporters of Senator Natasha is that will the Senate actually recall her? Will they actually call her back to the Senate? Or will they respond to the judgment that is being passed by Justice Nyako, or will they do otherwise? So drop your comments and watch the rest of the video, guys. And as you're watching, please do not forget to like, share, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much, and do well to enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Peace.
The breaking news on Senator Natasha she's been in the news, and this is a victory for her. We've been saying it since that there's no way you would deny a senator, colleagues denying a senator, in doing what her people elected her to do.
Representation.
Simply because other people felt she, kind of overstepped her bounds or whatever. Let's put it clearly. See what is remarkable here? She's been restated, and the tool that was used by the Federal High Court was the tool of the Senate. The Federal High Court held that the Senate themselves, their decision contravened the Privileges Act of the Senate, Section 14, subsection 2. Kingsley, come into this. People, the court did a very beautiful thing, not using any other law.
But the law of the Senate.
The law of the Senate saying no. This suspending a senator for 6 months is excessive. Even a small child in primary school knows that if you remove 6 months out of 4 years, it is excessive. I mean, where do we go from here?
Well, I hope because he directed the Senate to reinstate her.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
And as well as review their rules.
And said that they should not in any way again suspend somebody in that manner. You see, my complaint or my issues with the Senate and the executive at this particular dispensation is the fact that they don't listen to court orders or follow rules or follow constitution or follow the Nigerian constitution. For example, we've been talking about the River State case. The federal government seems not to even listen to anybody. I mean, people have gone to court. Even the courts themselves are culpable in this matter. They've not reviewed the case. The case has not been called for hearing for whatever reason. These are things that we need answer to now. It's just like you go into a hospital and you bring somebody from an accident scene or a gunshot or something. They say, well, they're asking you questions. They won't ask you questions whether the person is an armed robber himself or whatever.
Let the
it's
person
to
be
save
alive
life
first.
first.
Yes.
Don't be saying, or pay money. You can't go have an ambulance coming to pick you abroad. They say pay money. Nobody says that. This thing needs to be reviewed.
Peter, this is in some form. When our public officers, each time they install street lights, they pave the little road they can pave. They say this is dividend of democracy. Not dividend of democracy. No. I think what is happening right now, coming out of the Federal High Court, is the dividend of democracy. What do you think? What is going to be, Senator? What is going to be the high spirit? No matter how you look at it, according to Kingsley, said they don't obey the law, whether they obey or not. Her constituency are going to be proud of her. Nigerian women are going to be proud of her. Nigerian Democrats are going to be proud of her. We choose democracy as our style of governance. But unfortunately, each passing day, the custodian of that democracy, which is even the legislature, appears to not know where they are headed.
There is Natasha should be in high spirits. I don't think so. I think Nigerians are in high spirits. I, for one, I look forward to this judgment, and he has come.
So you're high now?
No, I'm very high. And thank God it's Friday. Who knows where it's going? But the truth be told, when this happens, we condemn it here. He don't suspend an elected
colleague.
I mean,
You didn't vote her.
I know he have a playbook that says he can suspend for only 2 weeks. He went above the playbook. A constitution that binds the Senate to do 6 months. Most times we ask this question, where do these people derive this power? The same Senate ratify a state of emergency with vote. Where do they derive this thing from? See, what I say, most times people go to court is to challenge this thing, let it be on record. Like she has done that, is on record. You cannot suspend
I'm an advocate of that going to court. You know very, very well.
Very well.
Because don't tell me judiciary is corrupt. Don't worry. Let them render that judgment.
Let them do the corrupt one.
Let them put it. So let it be on record. So you see this case. A lot of people say, "Oh, how come the constituency project or the project that should have gathered?" See, let's not democracy. If we have chosen democracy, nothing can stand on nothing. The foundation need to be well laid. Do you think Nigerians, no matter how you look at it, Nigerians who are lovers of democracy need to celebrate Senator Natasha?
He already told you that today is Friday, so it's a TGI. Thank God it's Friday. Now, you see what we need to do in this country. The good ones are more than the bad ones.
Of course.
I can tell you that. The good
they are just bullies.
They are just bullies. And let me tell you something. 1% of Nigerians are the one ruling Nigeria.
Are they really even up to 1%?
Maybe even 0.5%.
Exactly.
As the one ruling Nigeria. Well, we cannot allow them to fool us according to this pie they dangle in front of us, and we all lead a bad life. You see, not Not everybody in America is rich. Not everybody in UK is rich. Not everybody in London is rich. Some people drive bicycle, but under a good, conducive atmosphere. I hope and I pray. You see, if you and I form an organization, let's say it's a limited liability company, and we have a constitution or a guideline to which we exactly of understanding, which we saw an affidavit and all those kind of this thing, it should be binding.
We should follow it.
Now you can't just stand up, carry your gavel, and say, "Back 6 months." 6 months
by a colleague.
A colleague that was, because he was not elected a Senate president.
No,
he was elected a senator.
She could have been a Senate president too.
herself. Now, not only that, you closed down her office and everything concerning her, withdrew security.
Okay, now let me come. There's this part of law that I'm not getting very clearly sometimes. You know, maybe it's part of the duty we pay. Our citizenship duty. Maybe you just arrest somebody innocently. At the end of the day, you do this, you detain him, whatever. At the end of the day, they say, oh, he was discharged, he's not guilty. Okay? Nobody can really do proper compensation for all those times. Her office was closed and all that. Is she going to get a kind of compensation for the harassment, time spent in going to court, all these things? Because I didn't see any damages awarded. We tend to a kind of, we overlook the damages we incur, even defending yourself, even while you are innocent. The damages, most of the time, they just say you are reinstated. The happiness is all gone. But what she suffered, the emotional, the psychological trauma she went through within this period, how could she be compensated?
Now, for now, I think her compensation should be in her victory, because if you look at Nigerians, they don't. But the court should have proclaimed a sort of compensation for her, reward for her, but they didn't. So for me, she gotten what she needed. She needed to prove this wrong. And the court said something that is key. He told Senate to review their constitution. Meaning that even suspending a member is wrong. For the normal 14 days, they said in their book, meaning it's wrong. They said they should go and review it. I'm elected by my constituency. You don't have the power to suspend me.
Kingsley, you remember when I told you that if I was Senator appointing Natasha,
you carry the whole of it,
a fellow senator suspends me. That fellow senator will not do his job, because all people from my constituency will close that National Assembly gate.
If I
didn't vote for me.
No.
How could you remove 6 months from me? Where did you get the power from?
I should think that what should have been done is that all her legislative aids, all the constituent projects that are supposed to have been going on, everything should be reverted back. Her aids should be paid, her salary should be paid, and her security returned back to her.
And the people that orchestrated this thing should be punished in some form.
By the
abuse
law.
of power. We shouldn't just be treating it with levity.
You see, most of these things need to be reviewed by law, and it should be up to down. That's what it should be.
Top to bottom.
I mean, they say the former president is not feeling well. So what's his name? His former Shehu Sade, former media aide.
Okay.
He said that we should pray for President Tinubu, that he's going through a lot of. Sorry, okay, Buhari, please, Buhari, that he's going through some medical issues right now. So we should pray for him. That's the news that comes from Shehu Sani or Shehu something, and all that. But what we are saying here is that most of this thing is rascality of these political talks that we have in our place of power.
Okay, let me put it this way. Yeah, I do know we study government in secondary school. Yeah. Back in the days, I don't know if they study that again. We call it social study in primary school.
We still do.
Do we have to review our curriculum? Because Nigerians say they want democracy, but we don't understand democracy. Really, let's be honest. We don't understand democracy. We think there is a pattern where a winner takes all in democracy. It does not really exist.
See, let me tell you something. Everybody reviews that democracy. They practice democracy in Great Britain, not the one practiced in America. The parliamentary, there's federal. In Switzerland, they practice the federal system of government. Not only is Nigerian a multicultural, religious society, most countries in the world are. I can tell you for free.
Most
Yes.
Switzerland has 6 geopolitical areas or 7 thereabout. They have a form of government that their regional government, Switzerland, their regional government are more stronger than the head of the whole government. So they have like 6 vice presidents in Switzerland.
You don't want to adopt that thing during the Abacha time, if you remember, before we eventually changed.
Do you understand?
You know.
So we should look at the one. I'm not.
But it's not far from what Obasanjo just said.
Yes.
We should domesticate our democracy.
Our democracy, that's what we should do. He said we should domesticate it, but he didn't tell us how to domesticate it. For example, if you go to the Niger Delta, for example, you have the Edos, you have the Ijos, you have the Shekiris. Now, all of them are supposed to be under a particular geopolitical zone. Now, there are also divergent of views. Inside Wari, we have Ijos, we have the Urobos, we have the Sokos, we have the Ishakiris. If you say somebody should rule them, who will rule them? Now, what we need to do is to look for how it's fashioned, not to delineate these things according to local the one.
All right, let me come to you, Peter. Do you think the Senate is going to appeal this judgment?
Should they? I think they should have more important things to do. But knowing Bobby who he is, I think they might appeal. They most likely going to appeal.
What are they suffering from reinstating a fellow senator?
Nothing. Just it's something of pride, ego. They just want to make sure that she's. You know what they're trying to do. It's not Natasha. When was the bet that she won the case? Not because of her. It's because of others that want to stand for what is good. So using her as a scapegoat for warning for others.
Yeah.
So now, Senate might go to appeal to warn others. See, if this happens, this will happen.
No. I don't think they will appeal.
Okay.
There have been other incidents before where Omo Agege is one of them.
Yeah, because why are they appealing?
What are they appealing?
I mean, nobody is suffering.
Exactly. I think Linky too was another one.
Yeah, it doesn't
make sense for them to.
Okay, I was going to come to you on the content of court. Of course, showing that the court in this case, is a blind element, not recognizing anybody. Natasha also procured the content of court, by speaking, when she wasn't supposed to, or passing information that when she wasn't supposed to, and the court said she should apologize, and even on the daily paper.
Okay, so she will learn by that too.
Yes.
Justice Murtala Nyako said that's the woman said that look, if we give orders for you to do, whether satirical or whatever, stay away and obey. Do you understand? And he said as a result of that, you are going to pay 5 million naira and advertise in 2 national dailies in 10 days or thereabout to apologize to the court.
What a balance!
Balance of judgment. And it also still keep her in check and know that this is not a calamity.
You can't just come out and say anything too.
Yes.
I've always said that you can't just come out and say anything. Once your emotion runs up, you just come out and say no. We have control. So what do you think about that balance of judgment coming from the Federal High Court, Abuja?
These are taught everybody. Let's not just Natasha. When there is issue before a court, most times we advise to stay off. And she's been fined for disobeying that, and not only on two national dailies, so she should as well apologize on Facebook.
On her Facebook page.
Yes. So this is a lesson for all of us. Have an issue at court, let court do their work. Don't go to commenting on it.
This writing off the judiciary that the judiciary will collect money. I don't like that.
But
I don't really believe in that.
As much as you don't also like it, we also need to speak to the judiciary.
Yeah.
The judiciary should expedite.
Let me tell you the areas I think the judiciary has really fallen behind in Nigeria. Electoral cases is where they have really failed Nigerians. In some other cases, go look at their judgment. They are not biased. They are not biased,
but we can also rule out, according to Pharaoh Timi, that cases are not, but beyond the electoral cases.
We are not saying it's all pure. We are not saying it's all pure, but I'm telling you, it's not as bad as it is
in other cases.
With electoral cases. Electoral cases are just
because
they are just whitewashed.
Most electoral cases carry a lot of money, bro. we can't deny that. Some kulele, some cash.
And they expire immediately.
They expire in 3 months.
Nobody needs that.
So we have to get what we want from get.
Okay. Coming to see on the lesson, on the tenacity, the strength, the stamina, the ability to withstand fatigue, How do you rate Senator Natasha Akpoti?
She is shown that she's a woman of substance, a woman that when she believes in the cause, she sees it through. I know from what we heard, some overtures were made to her to drop the case, to go apologize, look for political settlement. She didn't. She wanted a legal interpretation of the whole thing. Let's define this. Let the court decide. And the most beautiful thing that Nigerians stood with her. Wanted some people like that in our senior, those that will stand for what is right, no matter the personal cost you will incur. But she incurred personal cost, and her constitution suffered, and they understand why they might not be benefiting what they will benefit, because she was fighting for a right cause. And a lot of Nigerian young ladies, they've seen what she has done, and I'm sure a lot want to copy her. And she has become a role model to so many Nigerians out there that you can fight for what is right and you can get justice. And that's what has happened.
You see, let me bear my mind on this. Yeah. During the military era, we have the Mubani, the Kutis, the Fawahimis, the Falanons fighting the military that we want democracy. But in recent times, we have seen a lot of Nigerian ladies rise up to support a lot of Nigerian people, even some other young male Nigerian people like we can't take it away from him. Adeaju, people like even what's his name, very dark man, you know, and all that. We are seeing these people rising up. You know, this guy was here the other day, Ibrahim, and told us that there are a lot of young people rising up. I must not forget to mention Shawori, you know, in defense of human dignity. He has also helped in making sure that people stand up. All the while this woman went to court. There's this lady on is an internet, Mama P, Aisha Yusufu, our mother, what's her name now? Obio Zekesili. She received insult from a young overzealous senator. But we've seen some Nigerians rise up, and not just only in our case. Look at the case of Dele Farotimi. Dele Farotimi stood up and said, thank you to Nigerians because you did not allow Nigeria to happen to me. So we see these voices rising up that are not political parties, but those that would defend human existence in Nigeria.
So looking at this, there is still hope that when you fight for Nigeria that works for everybody, it is achievable if you faint not.
Yeah, and this goes to every member of National Assembly who doesn't have cowered under the pressure. Natasha should be an example for you. She fought, Nigeria stood by her. Fight for us. We voted you in there to the right. Nigerians will always support you once you're on the right course. Like namely you have mentioned, Nigeria stood by them. And go there and defend our democracy. Don't ratify things that are wrong, like ratifying a magistrate with body votes. Stand up and say, this is, speak out. You are representing your constituency, you are representing your people. That is,
but you know, we have gone beyond that stage right now. You know, you recommended something like this for Fubara.
Yes.
If I remember. But unfortunately, we have gone beyond that stage.
On
Fubara, they said the rest is destroyed.
On Fubara's case, we didn't see a lot of people rise up in support in a consistent way, though it was botched at a particular point by Fubara himself. And those people that were calling that that he should resign, or he should just will I say beg, let me use the word. I said it and I will say it again. If I was Fubara that was governor, you said my state is declared as a emergency state, no, I will tell you no.
And you are not, and you were not impeached.
Not to remove you.
Exactly. And you are not impeached.
I will tell you
you can do the state of emergency.
Exactly.
Jonathan did it.
Exactly.
You know, but that's not the way.
But if you tell me to leave my office, no, you didn't elect me.
Yes.
As a president, you were elected. As a governor, I was elected.
That's right.
The will of the people is the one that will have
the lesson that those who issue somebody you didn't hire,
you can't fire.
You can't fire.
No, you can't.
You shouldn't be able to fire. You know, it's a natural cause. The people can't hire the person, and you will choose to fire the person. And let me tell you why are even Nigerians not happy that at the end of the day people will vote. Instead of the people's vote to count, it will take 3 judges to know who is the governor, who is this, let alone a fellow senator. Nigerians are even angry that the courts are deciding who are our elected officials, let alone a fellow senator. You know, sending a fellow senator away for a whole 6 months out of just 4 years. That is.
Don't also forget that she won election and she was denied. Another person was declared until she fought through the court. 1 year after, before she came. Now you are suspending her for 6 months again. Who gave you the power?
You know, at the end of the day, I kept asking, do you think Nigerians, why we were fighting the military, that we wanted democracy, that we didn't understand what democracy meant?
I think we do. I think just that to have, it was unfortunate we've elected perverted human beings into there that decide to decide to abuse the office they're in. Nigerians are smart. We know what we wanted. But we've got the wrong people that have their own personal interests and agenda. It is like, it's follow the constitution and we'll have peace. But the one that they created their own parts, decide to do what they want to do, gather themselves, and forget those who are put into power.
All right, outside this, Natasha still has another case before the court. You know, there's a criminal
libel.
Yeah, the one, not the one that libel, the one under cybercrime.
Yes.
Another one under penal code, you know, brought by
Prosecuted by the federal government.
by the federal government. Do you think federal government will congratulate Natasha on this victory?
No, they will not. You know, somehow, some way, let's be factual and frank. We have this egoistic stuff to say that a woman should voice should be that one is just going away little by little. A woman's voice should be heard in the kitchen, not in the
You can be heard in the kitchen and be heard in the palace too.
No, they don't want you to be heard. Only one place. You can only function in one place at a particular time. But you see, let's leave it. If a woman goes wrong, for example, there was a case of ETA. The case is buried till tomorrow. We didn't hear, you know, and all that. So the women should learn to. There's a place of obedience. There's also a place of speaking out, and they should speak out.
Right.
But also, let me take a swipe at the women in the National Assembly. I think they should have ganged up and also in their own moral way.
No solidarity.
No solidarity. And I can bet you most of them are not going to come back. And a lot of the senators that did most of these things, especially senators.
You know, this reminds me when I've forgotten the name of this lady that tried to be president one time under PDP or so.
That woman.
I've forgotten her name. In the primary election, she was the only one that voted for her. And they say women helping women.
All the women were in other lives.